Donald Trump has been in a complete state of panic all day today. I mean, he's just freaking out on social media and fundraising emails. Republicans have joined him in that panic, all because Kamala Harris elected Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota to be her running mate. The Republicans and Donald Trump have no idea how to react to the news. They don't know how to attack Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They have nothing that's effective, nothing that's resonating, nothing that is landing with your average everyday American voter. So I have some things that the Republicans and Trump put out today to show you, and it really just displays the panic we're seeing from the Republican side. So the first thing I want to show you is a fundraising email that Trump and the Republicans sent out immediately following the news that Tim Walz was going to be Kamala Harris's running mate. And it's on your screen right now. He says, quote, Tim Walz would be the worst VP in history, even worse than dangerously liberal and crooked Kamala Harris. He's that bad. He'll unleash, quote, hell on earth, in all caps, and open our borders to the worst criminals imaginable. He'll rubber stamp Kamala's Green New scam and light trillions of dollars on fire, yada, yada, yada. You know the nonsense. But he'll unleash hell on earth. Really? Hell on earth. It's just remarkable because Tim Walz is like your average guy. This is someone who is a high school teacher, taught geography and social studies. He is a veteran, a football coach. Do we really think that this guy who just wants to protect women's reproductive rights, wants to protect voting freedoms and things like that, is going to unleash hell on earth? Well, that's what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance wants you to believe, but we can just look at their records. As I just mentioned, Tim Walz just wants the best for the American people, has done that in Minnesota, displays what he wants there. Trump and J.D. Vance, well, let's just look at their record. Trump, insurrection, bunch of criminal indictments, felony charges, felony convictions, all of that nonsense. No good policy to help the American people, only wants to help himself and his rich buddies. And then J.D. Vance, a fraud who once called Donald Trump America's Hitler and noxious and reprehensible, and then suddenly switched like that to be Donald Trump's best friend. Those people want us to believe that Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, who are fighting for working Americans, are going to unleash hell on earth. It's the worst form of gaslighting because it's so obvious that it's a lie. We can just see right through this. It is such nonsense. And I understand they're trying to rile up the base and things like that, but this is not resonating with your average American voter who's like, yeah, I just want to put food on my table, have a roof over my head, and be able to pay my rent. Right? It's just not doing anything like that. So that's the first thing. The first thing. The second thing I want to show you is Donald Trump later reacting to the news with basically writing fan fiction about the Democratic Party. You might be saying, well, Harry, what are you talking about? Just buckle up. You'll see what I mean in just a second. He put out this statement on Truth Social saying, what are the chances that Joe Biden, whose presidency was, quote, unconstitutionally stolen from him by Barack Hussein Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer, and others on the lunatic left, crashes the Democratic National Convention and tries to take back the nomination, beginning with challenging me to another debate. He feels that he made a historically tragic mistake by handing over the presidency, a coup, to the people in the world he most hates, and he wants it back now. I don't know what world this guy is living on where he thinks that this is at all a possibility. So there's two things that kind of come to mind. Number one, as I mentioned, he's writing Democratic Party fan fiction. This is something straight out of a movie, a TV show. This is not based in reality. There's no evidence to back this up. Obviously, I don't need to say that, but I kind of do, just for the MAGA Republicans out there. There's obviously nothing backing this up. There's nothing. He's just making it up. He probably has a group of writers in there with him who was saying what could we do to really rile up the base and, draw the most attention to Trump's lunacy? And they come up with something like this, a movie script of a presidential candidate wanting to take back the nomination after saying that they weren't going to run. Utter nonsense. Kamala Harris is the Democratic nominee. Governor Tim Walz is the VP nominee. We can take a breather, Donald. Maybe just go for a walk, take 5 minutes outside and come back and get out of whatever land this is. Just come back to reality. It's okay. Come back to reality with the rest of us as opposed to writing movie scripts. Remember, this is the Republican nominee for president, and Kamala Harris is out there having a rally in Philly today to talk about the real issues, and Donald Trump is writing scripts. Okay? So that's number one. But number two, this does reek of panic, doesn't it? You can kind of sense the tension in his words, that he is freaking out. He's trying everything in the book, taking out every stop to try to reinvigorate his presidential campaign, which has flatlined recently. Fundraising is flatlining. Volunteers are flatlining. It's just not going well. The polling numbers are falling. He's trying everything Everything, even breaking out the new conspiracies that somehow Joe Biden came from the top ropes and he wants the nomination back. Utter nonsense. Look, Joe Biden has served his term. He's going to continue serving that term, and he's not going to be the Democratic nominee. This is a choice he made himself, and nobody else. And he's been a fantastic president to Donald Trump's dismay. I mean, Trump hates that Joe Biden's been so successful, but it is the truth. So that's just another thing. He's writing fan fiction now. The last thing I want to show you is also a complete lie, complete nonsense. Donald Trump said on Truth Social on your screen as well, quote, "This is the most radical left duo in American history. There's never been anything like it, and there will never be again. Crazy Kamala is indeed crazy. I hear there is a big movement to bring back Joe." So again, he's kind of touching on the lie that he put out earlier in the day. Donald, it's just not landing. It's just not going to work, man. It's just not going to work. Somebody needs to tell Donald Trump that this is just not the way that it is. It's not the truth. It's like, when your friend is wearing a hat you don't really like, you just got to be honest with them, being like, hey, I don't think that's your style. Donald, it's just not happening. I'm sorry, man. This conspiracy theory is just not spreading in the way that you would like it to. It's not landing. So that's first and foremost. But second of all, we are seeing this attack a lot from Republicans right now, that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are the most radical left people in America. I'm sorry. Is wanting to lower healthcare costs radical? Is wanting to cut prescription drug costs radical? Is wanting to protect women's reproductive rights radical? Is wanting to give free school lunch radical? Is automatic voter registration radical? Is childcare radical? Are all these things really left radical? Because if Donald Trump and the Republicans want to run on this platform saying, hey, everything that I just mentioned, we're opposed to that. We don't want you to have cheaper insulin. We don't want your kids to have food on their table. We don't want that. Then be my guest. Go ahead, Republicans, run on that platform. Run on the platform of the opposite of what Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz are talking about and see how that goes for you. Kamala Harris will pick up like 39 states out of 50, right? That's how it's going to go if Donald Trump and the Republicans adopt that platform. But, they think that like common sense reforms that would make people's lives better and improve the quality of life for all the people in the United States is apparently radical. And wanting to focus on the big issues is radical. Like Donald Trump genuinely in his heart believes that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz focusing on what matters to people, focusing on things that poll popularly in a popular way with the American voters is crazy. But he thinks that spreading conspiracy theories about Joe Biden wanting to take back the Democratic nomination and the presidency, whatever else was he saying, is apparently popular in his mind. He thinks that this is bad, saying like, hey, I want to lower your healthcare costs. But Joe Biden conspiracy theories about him taking the nomination is good, according to Donald Trump. That just shows you the campaign they're running over there. That just shows you that, man, they are worried. They see the numbers. They see the fundraising numbers. They see people registering to help Kamala Harris's campaign, the excitement that's going around the country, and you can feel it in the air. You can see it in these videos. You can, just feel it. They're worried about that. They are panicked. And it's kind of coming out in some of these Trump statements. They have nothing on her. They have nothing on Tim Walz. So they're resorting to this, the typical line. Look, at the end of the last thing I'll say, at the end of the day, the VP nominee could have been anybody. It could have been anybody in the Democratic Party. It could be the most moderate Democrat to the farthest left Democrat, and Republicans would still label them as radical left. It's all they have. It's all they know. They're taking out the usual plays from the playbook. They're taking out the usual plays. And we've seen it before, and it's not going to work. We know that. It's just not going to work. So anyway, Trump's panicking. The Republicans are panicking, and I'm loving every single moment of it. So anyway, I just wanted to bring these to your attention, just show you these if you hadn't seen them already. But make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. We're so close to 100,000 subscribers, less than 5,000 away, which is just crazy. Also, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about all this. But as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.